Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to VSRN. I'm Eddie Smith, and we're glad to have you tonight for the Moonshiners Racing League for the OB Builders Cup Series. And we are done with the short tracks for a couple weeks. I'm excited. We're going to see some space. We're going to have a little bit of space to race each other and maybe a little bit of green flag racing. Welcome, everybody, to the All About Sheet Metal 300 here in the OB Builders Cup Series tonight. Texas Motor Speedway. What a race we had on Sunday. Texas, not always a great race, but I think on iRacing, I think it could put on a pretty dang good show. So excited to get this thing rolling here tonight, and it is going to be a fun one. Let's take a look at your schedule. We're already done with this first little column here. We're getting ready to move on to the next one. Talladega next week. Can you believe it? It's going to zoom right through before you know it. We'll be blinking, and we'll be crowning a championship for in Phoenix in November. And, man, just cannot wait to see how this is all going to play out. It's been pretty amazing so far, but let's take a look at your point standings. Alex Coffey takes over the points lead after a couple weeks, and Randy Mullins dropping back just a little bit. He had a pretty massive lead, and now it's shrunk down to where Alex Coffey has taken over by 2 points. Neither one of them have wins, though, so tonight might be a opportunity for one of those to get in victory lane and punch that ticket into the playoffs. Who knows? Going to be a fun one for sure. We see Matt Cox there with the 2 wins. Definitely kind of separated himself in the win column, but there's so much racing left to go. The point standings after just a few races really don't mean that much. So put very little stock into this, but regardless, there it is. We'll take a look at our cams we got here tonight. We got Tim Wortman Jr., we got Johnny Shea, Chris Spear, Barry Sanders, Ed Bowles Jr. with a nice, a pretty sweet little angle here, you know. Ed's all about the angles for sure. Jeff Taylor, Tron's up the new, got his car in the background. Not really sure how that's going to translate, but it's a cool idea nonetheless. We'll see if maybe that'll resolve itself. There's Ed Bowles. And you got Shane Parrish. Look at that. Whoa, that's a nice rig. I'd like to see a little bit more of that rig, but man, really, really cool to see these guys and their rigs and stuff that they got going on. But we are qualifying at the moment, and so we'll kind of do a little bit of qualifying coverage, see where everybody's going to start here today. And it's already had a few people put in some lap times, and Alex Coffey, your points leader, up on the front row. Tim Wortman comes across the line and takes it away from him right as we get into the into the race. He's able to take that spot back. On with Ed Bowles here as we see what he can do, put down a lap time. We'll see if my shortcuts have hung around or if we got to redo everything. Oh, look at there. Ed has made it into his seat. We'll see what he can do. We'll pay attention here. You see, going in 4th gear. Going to be an interesting way. I mean, interesting. Shifting is going to be a big deal tonight. And we'll see what these guys elect to do. You see Ed staying in 5th here. But we'll see shifting all over the map. We'll see shifting down to 4th. We'll see run 4th all the way. Maybe, I mean, I ran a fixed setup race here and ran 4th all the way around the track by myself until I had to shift at the quad oval right at the start-finish line. So we'll see and when you get into the draft who does what. It could definitely affect the handling of the car. And you can see right now, though, Ed looking really good. So you're going to cross the line first lap. Good enough for 24th. You can see what they're going to be dealing with. He's trying to get down to that white line. Just can't seem to get down there to it. That's going to be really important, especially in 1 and 2. The way that this new track works is that they will be dang near wide open in 3 and 4. So as we'll watch him complete his 2nd lap here, we'll see if he can improve upon it. Cross the line. And, yeah, he does improve up to 20th. So, good improvement there. Check out Paul Gallimore here in the number 11 machine. But like I was saying, these guys, and we'll watch and see as Paul is going to go down into turn 1 as he coming off the corner to start his first lap. It's so important. This right here is the most important part of the track. If you don't nail this, you will not be fast. You got to go down to the corner, get down to the white line, wait on the throttle. It is so tempting to get back on the throttle and drive off the corner. But the way that turn 1 and 2 works, it will slide you up towards the wall or you'll get loose. So you don't want to do that. So when you go through into turn one, you want to get right down to the bottom, wait a little bit, get on the throttle, because as soon as you get on the throttle, you're not going to let up until you get around just turn one again. So that's how important that one turn is going to be, especially as tires are new. Paul Gallimore goes across the line. He's 35th fastest on his first lap. Obviously running high, trying to get, and you see, got on the throttle a little bit early. On qualifying, you could do that, but in race, you definitely don't want to do that. So he is hammered down, trying to make a quick lap, right down to the bottom, barely lifting as it comes off the corner. I think this is going to be a pretty quick lap. Oh, he makes a little bit of contact. He's going to go through the grass, and he spins Paul Gallimore, right into the gap of pit road, and he had a monster lap, I think, and it is all gone, and he is going to start from 36th. Wow, you definitely do not want to see that. That is a bummer for Paul Gallimore. We'll kind of go back and see if we can watch that again and watch on board. We're going to go just a little bit further back. It's probably a lap behind, so we're watching a replay of Paul Gallimore's lap as we wait for somebody else to come. And we're going to watch on board with him. I mean, he's hammered down, starting to push a little bit here. You can see the car getting away from him. He's trying to keep it off the wall, knowing that it will negate his time. And look at him going through the grass into pit road. And he is going to have a lot of work to do going forward here tonight. So, man. He had I'll tell you, it looked like a really good lap. So, all right. Well, qualifying's got about 4 minutes left. And so we'll continue to have a little bit more coverage, and we'll talk a little bit about Texas Motor Speedway. It is a 1.5 mile raceway. It's been reconfigured early on in its life cycle. It had a really similar approach to Atlanta. I think they're both SMI tracks, so that makes sense. They wanted to hit a Texas market, and I think they really hit on something special for a while there, and then it started to fade a little bit. The track started to wear out, and we know the Texas heat will really bear down on any kind of surface, especially something asphalt. So I'm sure they're always trying to deal with that, but I think it just needs a little something, and they decided to redesign 1 and 2 a few years ago, and I don't know if that was the right call. It just made it such a bottom feeder track. You really can't come up off the bottom. We saw that Sunday night. So I just can't say that it's been improved over what it had before. But, hey, tip of the hat to them for trying something, that's for sure. Well, all right, well, we do have somebody qualifying, so we will kind of go back out on the track. I want to try to get a lot of folks, show them what they do, especially as they go around this track. I think it gives these guys a lot of, or gives at least the viewers an idea of what these guys are dealing with. You see he's in 4th gear, coming off of the bottom of the corner. That's a really good line. This is his first lap. Got a couple minutes left. Going to ride up on the high side. I don't think you'll see anybody really do much of that during the race. See him get a little bit loose there, but he is going to have some speed. We'll see where he shifts into 5th. Right there, and then he's going to immediately probably shift down to 4th. Drive down to the bottom. Gets on the gas pretty early. That car seems to be hooked up pretty well. We'll see as he comes off the corner. Good-looking car, Jordan Schmeets. That machine is going around the track at a blistering pace. This is where Paul Gallimore had trouble as he's coming off the corner. No problem from Jordan Schmeets. This should be a pretty good lap. We'll see where he ends up. And it's good enough for 24th. And while we were talking, while I was running my mouth, not paying attention, I guess, Sean Kaltenbach got the pole, at least for now. Still, John Bender, Matt Mackin, and Dean Motley have yet to come off of pit road and make a lap. So we'll see if they hit the track at any point. But minute ticking off, it looks like they're going to miss any opportunity of making a lap. So. Well, all right. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and jump into the grid. I think we're pretty safe here. that we can call it. I don't see anybody else jumping on track, and they don't have enough time as it is. So let's jump right into the grid, see where everybody's going to be starting today. Sean Kaltenbach on the pole here tonight in that number 52 Ford Mustang, with Tim Wortman Jr. in second. In third, it's going to be Kyle Holden. We'll be talking about him tonight, I would imagine. Probably disappointed after last week, but he had a lot of speed. We'll see what he can do tonight. Barry Sanders, that 88 machine, up in the top 5, starting fourth. Starting fifth is going to be Alex Coffey, your points leader, with Blaine Wilson there in sixth. Seventh, Shane Davis with Brandon Fetterplace. Wayne Bowen going to start in ninth, and Shane Parrish in 10th. 11th, Aaron Matthews with Chris Davis in 12th. 13th, Matt Cox with Chad Sullivan in the 14th position. 15th going to be, oh Lord, we got some new names in here. They're really putting me to task here. Andrew Niedert. I will do the best I can. Paul Whitley. Andrew in the number 1. You let me know how your name is said, and we'll get it right. But I'm going to go with Niedert. That sounds wrong, but hopefully it's right. Randy Mullins. Going to start in 17th. Steven Gibson in 6th. 18th. 19th, Chris Spear. Nigel Christensen in 20th. 21st is going to be Jeffrey Taylor with Johnny Shade in 22nd. I just can't help but say Johnny Shade. I don't know what it is about it. It's just a very easy name. Sounds like a Mortal Kombat character. Justin Belmont in 23rd. 24th, Jordan Schmitz. 25th, Ed Bowles Jr. Nick King in 26th position. 27th, Darren Mullins. Caden Orfrey. Wow, there's 10 other Caden Orfreys. Unbelievable. He's in 28th. 29th, Jameson Middlemiss, and Jared Clark is your top 30. We got a lot more. Holy cow. Garrett Crawford in 31st. Derek Pemberton in 32nd. 33rd, Nicholas Atwood with Darren Mills in 34th. 35th, Hunter McCarmichael. Matt Medler. I mean, he hit a perfect 30 flat. Look at that. Can't beat it. 37th, Paul Gallimore and John Bender in 38th. 39th, Matt Mackin and Dean Motley in 40th. That'll round out your field. Holy cow, I was falling apart there at the end there. What's going on? I think it was the new name that Andrew Niedert that goofed me up. So well, I think Texas, man, it's going to be interesting to see how these guys handle this on the open setups. And see, what they are trying to get. A lot of these guys have setups from setup shops, but the ability to be able to work on your setup through this race, I think, is going to be a big deal. We'll take a look at the weather as we're getting rolling here. 99 degrees is actually pretty chilly for a Texas race, in my opinion. A lot of times you see it up in the 120 mark, and we'll pay attention to that as the race goes on, because if it does get in that 120, I think guys will be making adjustments in the race. It's one thing about open setups that I do like. A lot of these guys, very few of them are going to probably build their setups from the ground up. I'm sure there are, and I'd love to know who they are. But I think a lot of times you're going to get setup shots. So what's cool is during the race you can really work on it and make it better through the race. Look at this right here. I can't even talk because of how cool this looks. Shane Parrish has got, what a setup that he's got going on. Look at those caution lights. And I tell you what, if he ever runs over you under caution, it's BS, because he'll know right away when that caution comes out. That is really cool. I appreciate that view. That is going to be something to look at throughout the whole race. It's going to be distracting for my brain. So, but definitely appreciate that. It's pretty cool. I like that. Take a look at your race analysis. 200 laps here tonight. Stages on lap 45 and 90. 1 green, white checkered attempt. 6 tire sets available on the car. You got 100% fuel load. Of course, we talked about open setup. So 200 laps. You got stages. So the stage points are going to be really important. Guys who really want to try to keep themselves in good positions for the playoffs. You got Alex Coffey sitting atop the standings, has no wins. So that just shows how consistent you can be. If you can be consistent, get those stage points, that will keep you up there regardless of your win total. I think Alex Coffey probably going to get a win at some point, but Well, all right. Well, they will go around one more time as everybody talking to their teammates, talking about when they're going to come down for fuel, when are we going to do this, checking out the strategy, talking about your starting positions, looking who's around you. Say, okay, this guy normally runs a little bit faster early on. Got to watch out for him. This guy's very aggressive, or gal, and I'll have to watch out for them to see if maybe I'll let them go here early. 200 laps is a long time at Texas, so you have plenty of time if your car is handling good. But this first stage is great for a lot of things, but one of them especially is for dialing in that car, making sure that you can make adjustments if you need to on the pit stops. And, it's all done by tire wear. You go down pit road and you see the right rear, pretty even with the right front. You got to feel pretty good about how things are going. But if that right front or that right rear is a little bit out of place, need to make adjustments on the next stage. So we'll see what they do here. Sean Kaldenbach heads down to the Barney flag stand, and green flag is out here at AASM 300. Barry Sanders in the wall. Big wreck on the front stretch. Massive pile up as they go blazing by. Look at all the carnage. And Shane Parrish's caution lights have just started going crazy here as we didn't even make it back to the second lap and caution is out. And we're looking at Shane Parrish right here. We may not see him very long as he is tore up from the floor up, and that machine is done for the day. The 88 is where it all started, and we were watching from that starter cam, and look at Barry Sanders already. I mean, just a tough way to start a race. No fast repair in this series, so there's a lot of torn up cars. And let's go back and see if we can see exactly what happened. We have to go back a little bit further than that, but yeah, 3 wide. You can see right here a little bit of contact between drivers, and I think Barry was clear of it. But my goodness, just lost the handling of the car in the middle of the corner. Watch right here. I mean, he's clear of that 3 wide, but you see how far out of the groove he is, and he just gets loose when he comes up. He gets a little tag there, and there was somebody to the outside, and once that happens, man, look at the cars involved. Was that the 13 of Johnny Shade who just went flying all over the place? Going forward with him. Johnny Shade here. Watch this. I mean, really disappointing for a lot of these drivers who didn't even make it the first lap before they're in big, big trouble. You can see the accident happening right in front of him, and just watch here. Let's go for a ride. My gosh. There was a lot of drivers involved in that. Shane Parrish, Chris Davis, Stephen Gibson is gone himself. Brandon Fetterplace, Aaron Matthews. Drivers we said a lot last week are now out of this thing. Watch here again. My goodness. Everybody got a piece of Johnny Shade there. That was wild. So a lot of drivers involved. Some folks will be able to come down. Darren Mills, you see him. Made a little bit of contact. A lot of people coming down pit road for damage. I mean, there were 21 drivers involved in that accident. 21 drivers out of the 40 cars were involved in that lap 1 accident, all coming down to get damage repaired. Justin Belmont, Garrett Crawford, Jared Clark, Matt Medler, Nick King, all getting about 30 seconds of damage. Nicholas Atwood, Andrew Niedert, 55 seconds. He comes down and gets damaged. Jamison Middlemiss, Jordan Schmeets, Chris Spears, Matt Mackin, Nigel Christensen, Darren Mills, Barry Sanders, Derek Pemberton, Shane Parrish, Chris Davis, Stephen Gibson, Johnny Shade, Brandon Fetterplace, and Aaron Matthews, all involved in that accident. Excuse me. So, wild beginning to the race, and I don't know if Shane Parrish's lights. I don't know if Shane is there. I can't see him in the seat, but you can see those lights going off, and fortunately, he has got a lot of damage to be fixed in that 10 machine. And those up front kind of got to be away from that. Everybody behind Barry, I feel like, got some damage. It was pretty wild. So, but some guys able to take advantage of that. Up Hunter Carmichael, John Bender up 20 spots after that lap. So, hey, that's a good way to get some track position. Green flag back out as Sean is going to get a great jump. And honestly, Kyle Holden kind of sleeping there as they go down to oh, somebody's already in the wall back there. Nigel Christensen up against the wall. No caution. Is what's going on here? Everybody having trouble. We stay green, though. No caution. But Nigel Christensen having some issues there at the start-finish line. But we're side by side. We'll talk about some racing. Maybe. We'll see. Alex Coffey to the outside of Shane Davis. Gets a nice little run here. 1 and 2 is where that bottom line will shine. And you can see Alex Coffey kind of concede that position and more as that outside line just not going to work. And we saw that on that first lap, turn 3 and 4, just really tough to make that outside work. But we are kind of settling down. Of course, half the field's on pit road getting damage fixed, so that definitely helps. But Sean Kaltenbach has taken an early lead. Shane Davis starting to reel him back in. Shane was about 0.3 faster that last lap, and he is going to try to get up here and make something happen. But, I mean, just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It happens all the time. You think, oh, 200 laps, we'll give them 200 laps. That'll make no fast repair. They'll calm down. Hey, not a damn way they're going to calm down because first lap, 20-something drivers involved in an accident. That's just crazy. But you love it. That's why you get in here and race. You don't love it if you're one of those 20 drivers, but it is fun to see these guys race it out. Got a nice side-by-side battle between Matt Cox and I believe that's Chad Sullivan in that 21 machine. And Chad actually drives off the outside. Oh, going to get real close. And oh, my goodness, almost making a little contact there as the 21's able to sneak through. And here comes Jeffrey Taylor down on the inside. Jeff it looks like he has gotten rid of his screen. Got a nice little camera now as he looks ahead. Battle between Blaine Wilson and Chad Sullivan as Jeffrey has cracked the top 10 here. And now going down the back straightaway. You'll see the draft be pretty important. I mean, these guys are going to find it tough to get away from each other considering that your own throttle time is pretty high. So that usually means the draft is important. You can see momentum is everything. Jeffrey Taylor just trying to keep it up. You don't want to lift too much. You know, you want to lift for guys. You want to make it easy and kind of work around folks. Take your time. But here at this track, unfortunately, you're just not going to be able to do that. If you get a run, and speaking of runs, we got a run for the lead up front. Shane Davis down to the inside of your leader. And the 79 of Shane Davis takes over the lead on lap 11 as he's been working on Sean for a while. We'll see if Sean can do anything back with him or if he's going to settle in that second place. And it looks like Shane has gained 6 spots from where he started and now has taken over the lead early in this race. Other big movers, Randy Mullins, no surprise there. Been points leader for quite a while and just lost it last week after Martinsville, but he has been extremely fast. And I am new to this league now, so I'm still learning everybody. But I can tell you what, I know the names that I've called out more and more and more. And Randy Mullins is one of those that I have spent a lot of time talking about. Look at him going down to the inside of Wayne Bowen. Wayne's going to fight hard, kind of push down on, you know, in 1 and 2, it can be scary. Down on the bottom for sure, it's tough because you can't really get on the throttle as much as you want to. You want to gas it up and go around that guy, but you have to wait on it. And the outside can really pinch you down and make it difficult. But you can see there in 3 and 4, Randy was able to take that spot back over. And, man, what a fun league this is, man. There's so much good racing going on all over the place. And we can see some battles going on right here as we take a look. It's a battle for right around the 10th position. Matt Cox has it. And Blaine Wilson is trying to take it. So the field spread out quite a bit so far. 20th is 4.5 seconds back already from the leader. So you can see the draft's effect. I mean, this is all draft at the moment, but we'll see it. As we get into lap 20, you're going to see the tires start to fall off. What have you done to the tires? How much have you heated them up? You can really abuse them between like lap 1 and 8, 9. But if you abuse them for that long, it's going to come back to bite you around the lap 15 mark. So we'll start to see that spread of who has done a good job, who has done a bad job, and saving. You know, open setup's a little bit different, but regardless, I think that tire wear is going to be important. In a race that I ran, a full length 267 lap race, the guy that won the race, he started in the very back, and he ran 3 or 4 tenths off of the pace, maybe more. At the start of each run, you see the 21 of Chad Sullivan going to slide up a little bit in 3 and 4, but he was running 3-4 tenths off of the pace in the Sunoco Cup Series, and he was able to run folks down at the end of these runs, especially around lap 30, 35 when the tire wear gets really, really tough. So we're going to see who can do that, who is saving, and who is maybe pushing it a little bit hard. In about 15 laps, we'll know exactly who that is. If we stay green, and man, almost did not, as Chad Sullivan, Tim Wortman Jr. almost made contact. I believe they did make contact, but able to keep it together. My goodness. I think the 21 of Chad Sullivan has been, I mean, close to the disaster a couple times so far. But Chad's got 2 wins on the season, and he is on the move, man. Up 8 spots from where he started, and he is scooting. I mean, I guess we're in Texas, so he must be boot scooting. I don't know, but look at him. Fighting to the inside of Wortman, who's trying to hold him off. But Wayne Bowen is up in that high line. You can see Chad having to feather that throttle through 3 and 4. Coming off the corner, he's got to run. He clears Wortman. We'll see if he takes the dive down to the inside. Hear him shift down to 5th. He is going to look. We'll see if he can make it work. He does. And that's what that show, it gets a little bit loose there, but that's what that shifting allows for you to do. That's why you hear guys talking about it. You see Wortman give him a big shove down the straightaway. But that is what those guys are talking about with the shifting, is it makes it where you can drive so deep into the corner, you grab a gear, and then you stomp on the gas. You don't really have to think too much about it. And you can see Sullivan was able to take that spot into 1 because of that, and just a great drive so far for him. He is up 9 spots, where Randy Mullins, who's right in front of him, is moved up 13. Now, the biggest mover so far is Hunter Carmichael back here in the number 3 machine. Whoa, we got a big battle from Matt Cox going down to the inside, making 3 wide on Alex Coffey at the 23 of Jeffrey Taylor. Taylor goes up the track, and I could see on Jeffrey Taylor's camera, you couldn't see it, but he said some bad words, I think, or I don't know if he said bad words. I think he might have said, oh. He was 3 wide. Matt Cox not playing around here as he is moving forward as well. But Hunter Carmichael, just talking about him, 26 spots, gained a ton of spots after that first lap wreck. Oh, 18. Blaine Wilson gets a tap from Justin Belmont. Or is that Caden Orfrey? I don't know. No, I think it was Justin Belmont. And boy, they almost had a big problem. Man, look at the battles going on all over the track up front. It is still Shane Davis with Kyle Holden there in second, as Sean Kaltenbach has started to fall off a little bit. He is about a couple tenths slower than the leader. So if you wonder if he's starting to take it easy or if he pushed it a little bit too hard too soon, It's really, really hard to say, but man, really good racing going on here. Is see the 54 and the 83 going around a lap car. That's the lap car of Nigel Christensen here, who is 1 lap down. He's in that lucky dog spot, but you can see that the damage is pretty bad on that 17. He's just not able to hold the speed like everybody else. I mean, they're just driving around him. You see that front end damage. And we've already talked about it. Momentum-based track, aero, very, very important. And any little bit of a problem that you're having, and you can see guys just driving right on by him. It's nothing at all. So these guys coming back out on the track, that's going to definitely make it interesting for the lead lap cars, because a lot of these guys are going to come out with damage to try to get as many spots as they can. And I do not blame them at all. But up front, Kyle Holden putting pressure now on Shane Davis, who gets a little bit loose through 3 and 4. That opens the door for Kyle. Kyle going to go down to the inside. He wants to win yet another stage. Going to get 2 stage 1 wins in a row to go through 1 and 2. And he is going to have it for now. We'll see if he slides up in front of him. Not quite. Shane going to fight back on the outside, but here in 3 and 4, that wide open turn, I think he'll be able to take it. And there he goes. Kyle Holden takes over the top spot. 25 laps it took for Kyle to get up to the lead, and he is moving. Right now, Randy Mullins, the only driver in his zip code as far as times, and that time by Kyle Holden was the fastest driver on the track. So now Kyle is out to clean air. And, man, we know, I mean, aero is just a constant discussion when it comes to next gen. And iRacing, I mean, you know, you can call it a game, you can call it a simulation, you can call it whatever you want, but I call it like I see it, which is, it is very close to reality on a lot of things. I think some things need a lot of work, but when it comes to aero blocking, be able to get out front, the dynamics of how your car handles, all that stuff is pretty dependent on aero. And you get back in traffic, the car gets really tight. You feel like you just can't turn the dang thing. You're always searching for clean air. As soon as you get out front, it's like just I don't know. It's like your car just comes alive, and you got a ton of grip. You got the downforce on the front of the car. I mean, it's just a lot of really positive things. But he is jumping out to a really quick lead here. Still the fastest car on the track. And, man, we'll go back to this little group right here. Look at this mess. My goodness. Lots of drivers here. And this is right around that 10th position, which seems to be where a lot of the fighting is going on. Guys falling back. Guys moving forward. It is a lot of it right now. We're looking at Caden Orfrey, Blaine Wilson, and Hunter Carmichael. See the 20 of Caden Orfrey all over the back bumper on that outside line. And they're making it work. Oh, a little bit of contact there off of turn number 4. The 21 and there's 21 again. Chad Sullivan making more contact. He has he's been using those bumpers, those fenders. He is not going to send them back to the body shop clean, that's for sure. He wants to give them some work to do, I suppose. That 21 has made a lot of contact so far, but he continues to move forward as he's already gotten up to the 11th position. But it's starting to slow down now. And we're starting to see where the tire wear is going to start to really show its ugly head. Who's been using those tires up a little bit too much, and, you know, who has been saving. So we'll see folks move back through the field quickly, I think, in the next 5 or 10 laps. As, man, Blaine Wilson gets loose there. That slows up. Oh, excuse me. That was Caden Orfrey. Slows up there. The 21 making contact again. The 21's going to get knocked up out of the groove by Justin Belmont. And now he's going to lose a couple spots after contact with the number 6 machine. And he goes in there and just, the 6 just door bangs him in the middle of the corner. on board here with Chad Sullivan. We watch what it's like out there. It seems like his car is handling really well. That contact just moved him out of the groove, but you can see he is very confident in his car. You can see he's in fourth gear all the way around. Only fifth in a brief moment, and you could maybe by yourself, especially as the tires start to wear. They're both getting loose. Hunter Carmichael, one's going through the grass as the handling's starting to fall off as Caden Orfrey goes through the grass, loses a ton of spots here, and we're starting to see that handling go away as people have maybe pushed the limit on how loose they want to be at the end of these runs. You definitely use the rear tires quite a bit, especially as you're wide open in 3 and 4, and we're already seeing folks struggle with that here. As you're hanging on that right rear, and we know that the next gen doesn't love that. As Caden, you can see he's already lit it on fire. He's got to let it cool down for a couple laps as he is on edge. As you see, Chad Sullivan again making contact with something. I think he made contact with the wall this time. Norfrey struggling here. That car is not acting appropriately. As you see, I believe that's the 29 of Chris Davis goes around this. He is a lap car. But look how nervous he is on the throttle. He is really tiptoeing here. I think we've got just a few laps before we're going to see guys come down pit road. Well, no, that would be ridiculous. We have the stage, and man, look at Caden all the way up the track. Going to lose even more spots here as 74 Paul Whitley is now looking down to the inside. We have just 9 laps to go until the stage, so I don't think we'll see anybody come down pit road. But I know they would love to, because that car is not handling good again. Caden gets loose off the corner, trying to keep it off the wall. That car was going straight out to the wall, and he has to put a little bit more wheel into it. Man, what a save that he did there. But Caden's struggling here. Somebody that's not struggling. Alex Coffey had fallen back a little bit, now starting to move forward, down to the inside of Randy Mullins. It's a battle for 5th place. Alex seems to have saved quite a bit. Tim Wortman Jr. as well. Doing a little bit of saving. You're starting to see that kind of play out here. Shane Davis, who jumped out to an early lead, has now fallen back to 4th. But you continue to watch this battle between, this is 1st and 2nd in the points, so you know that they are top-tier drivers. Alex has caught Randy, but not been able to quite take that position just yet. Kyle Holden out to a 2-second lead here. That 59 machine is hooked up. Alex Coffey not able to really make a move, but you can see they're running side by side, and they are running Shane and Tim Wortman down. So running side by side, but yet not a big deal. They are still catching them. Seems like Coffey and Randy very, very close as far as speed goes. And it'll just probably be what lane that Shane is in whenever they go to pass. And we'll see what happens right here. They're up to Shane already. And Randy Mullins going to try to go around the outside. Drives it in pretty deep. And now Alex Coffey will likely have the line if they get a good enough run. Going down into 3 and 4. Shane drives it in pretty deep. Coffey pushes up the track a little bit. And Randy Mullins gets a nice little lucky shot there. Able to get around Alex now down to the inside, and he is going to take over that 4th position. And you see the lap traffic these guys are dealing with. A lot of damaged cars. You see the 29 driving up through this battle. All on different tire strategies, different, it's all over the place. So that's Randy Mullins in 4th. On that top side, the 29 of Chris Davis. He is a lap down. Then right behind, now Alex Coffey trying to get around the 79 of Shane. And then don't sleep on Matt Cox. He has run these guys down, and he looks to be pretty freaking fast at the moment. Down to the inside goes Matt Cox. Shane Davis, obviously, going to have to think about this run here on this pit stop. What did I do? How hard did I drive? I got up there and led some laps. That's what I want to do. But, I'm going to lose out on some valuable points at the end of this stage because he went all the way from the lead down to 7th. Obviously, burned those tires up. But with 200 laps, I mean, you've got the opportunity to adjust. And I think that's what Shane will do here. He'll go down pit road and go, okay, this is what I did wrong. This is what, what happened. This is about what lap that this kind of, the tire started to fall off. And he can look at his tire percentage. You look at the right front, look at the right rear, look at the spread, say, okay, if my right front is really worn compared to my right rear, I know that I'm maybe driving into the corner too hard, just maybe a little too tight. If it's more even, if you got less right rear tire wear than right front, which I really doubt. But if it's close, maybe tighten that car up just a little bit, especially if you're running up towards the front. All right, they come across the line, lap 45. I don't know exactly. I think once everybody crosses the line is when they will kick off the caution, but it looks like Kyle Holden not going to have any trouble. 3-second lead on the first stage, and that Simrat Market machine has been fast. Just waiting on the caution to be flown. And there it is. Stage 1 in the books here at Texas. And Kyle Holden takes the first stage here in the number 59 machine. Started in 3rd, has really kind of hung back there as Shane and a couple other drivers got up there and was battling. And then all of a sudden he just came out of nowhere, took the lead, and he never looked back. 21 laps out of 45. And he's going to take the stage victory. We'll take a look at the weather right here. The track temp hasn't changed, so we are in for some pit stops here as they catch up to the pace car. And there you can see your results for the stage 1. Top 10 is going to be Kyle Holden, Sean Kaltenbach, Tim Wortman Jr., Alex Coffey, Randy Mullins, Matt Cox, Shane Davis, Jeffrey Taylor, Wayne Bowen, and Blaine Wilson going to be your top 10 for stage number 1. Justin Belmont was one of those drivers who had to come down and get some damage fixed after that lap 1 incident. He has gotten up to the 11th position. So Justin doing a great job here after a little bit of damage, but did the smart thing, come down pit road, try to get as much of it fixed as he could. And man, he really made a lot of moves there to get back up towards the front. Pit stops, 4 tires of fuel is going to be the call. Nobody, I don't think, is going to try anything crazy. Not this early. We'll have even less laps to get to the next stage. So, I just can't imagine those left side tires just too important. Especially when you're running pretty much flat out in 3 and 4. If you do not take left side tires, it's going to be really difficult, I think, to make it hold. But the next gen has proven that 2 tires can work time to time. So we'll see if anybody tries it. As see the battle off pit road, Kyle Holden does take it. And this will give some opportunity for guys who had some damage to maybe go down, spend a little time down there, get that fixed. Well, let's bring your Stage 1 winner up into the booth, and we're going to talk to Kyle Holden right now. Stage 1 winner, Kyle Holden. That car looks mighty fast out there at Texas. Talk to me about it. What was it like that first stage, and how you feel about the car so far?
So far I wasn't really too sure if I was going to run this set or not, and one of my teammates ended up kind of pushing me towards it. So we built last year and kind of made some edits to it, and it seems to be flying pretty much on the long run. I don't know how too good I'm going to be on the short run, but we'll see how it goes. But I know the long run's got a lot of speed in it.
Well, that Simrat Market 59 machine, while it's definitely fast, maybe one of the best looking cars out there. So that first stage, you felt pretty good on the long run. You feel pretty good going forward. You know, right now, I mean, is there anybody who's looking forward that you haven't seen yet that you might worry, hey, is going to come up there and battle, you know, try to battle me for this win? Because it seems like, you know, especially there at the end, you're kind of in a league of your own. But I know that kind of confidence can be detrimental to a race win. You think, oh, nobody can beat me. And you kind of let your guard down a little bit. So talk to me about the next stage. It's going to be a little bit shorter as they're going to run to 40 laps here. So you're going to see the aggression maybe pick up in this stage. How are you going to attack it?
Yeah, definitely see some aggression. So I'm probably just gonna run my pace. You know, if they want by, let them by. You know, I'm not too worried about stage points at this point right now. We got some stage points last race, so we're feeling pretty good there. So we're gonna run our pace here, but definitely look out for Tim. I saw him; he was running me down for a little bit there, and maybe got caught up in some traffic that he couldn't keep pace there anymore. But I know Alex is fast as well. Sean's been kind of cutting into the time and then falling back again. So we'll see what they can do on this run, and hopefully we can have a good show for you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to break the fourth wall a little bit. What team are you in? I just grabbed you, and I don't even remember.
Bad boy.
Okay. All right. There you have it. Stage 1 winner, Kyle Holden, and he sounds pretty confident. He sounds relaxed. Man, it sure is easy to be relaxed when that setup is driving as good as it is. On that long run, he just continued to pull away after he got the lead. And so it's easy to be relaxed. Now, some guys back here that are going to be trying to move forward, you know, right around the top 10. We saw that be extremely wild. I mean, Chad Sullivan was somebody's name that I spoke a lot, making contact over and over again. He is in the top 10. He's running 9th or 10th right now. Not so calm. Going to have a lot of work to do to get up through the field, and it is very, very tough to move the cars up, you know, get through the dirty air and get up towards the front. But a lot of big movers still. Hunter Carmichael still your biggest mover in 12th position. Paul Gallimore, we saw him have that really bad qualifying effort. I mean, he looked fast. We come off the corner and got loose, spun down through the infield, the front stretch infield, and he started 37th, almost at the very back. Just 3 drivers who didn't qualify started behind him. And he is already up in the 15th position. So Paul Gallimore, look out for him. He is making big moves here in this race. So we'll see how these guys continue to move forward. But right now it's all Kyle Holden and Sean Kaltenbach, who Sean kind of fell back on that first little run, let Shane by, and fell back to 3rd, but he ended up in 2nd. So he has got some long run speed in that 52. He's just going to have to find that balance. All right, getting ready to go green. Barney's got the green flag in hand. We got 40 laps to the next stage at lap 90. Green flag is out. Kyle Holden will lead us to the green flag. Tim Wortman did not get a great jump. You see he's kind of falling back here as the battle for 2nd is between Sean Kaltenbach and Alex Coffey. And Sean going to drive it really hard through 1 and 2. Almost cleared Coffey as somebody made contact. I think it was who that was. Matt Cox, I think, made contact with the wall out there. Coffey gets a good run off of 2. Down on the inside. They're flat out at this point, so the inside line is going to be really strong. I think it takes about 5 or 6 laps for that outside starts to come in where you can actually use it in 3 and 4. Randy Mullins not worried about the outside in 1 and 2. He's trying to get a run here on Sean. And, again, Sean not aggressive at all on these restarts. And, I mean, he knows exactly what he's doing. Let these guys go. Let them have the spot. And then work your way back through them once you start to save a little bit of tire. But that's always a great strategy until the guys that pass you save just as much tire as you do. It's such a chess game. If you're not familiar with iRacing, all these guys are extremely fast. You know, and I think even if you're newer to iRacing, your strategy may be as you go into an official race is, hey, I'm going to save a little bit of tire and I'm just going to run these guys back down at the end. But when it's this competitive out there, you can't do that. You just can't. If you lift and try to save your tires, you'll go from 3rd all the way back to 15th and you'll never see the front again. You're just not able to do that. So there is a balance that has to be kind of worked around, especially early in the runs where, hey, I'm going to fight for these positions. I don't want to lose too much. You see the top 4 kind of pulling away. That's good. That allows your Sean to breathe a little bit and save a little bit of that tire without pushing his car too hard. So it's just a chess game, you know. Hey, I don't want to push it that hard. You might see guys just let folks through whenever they get positioned. You see Randy Mullins going down to the outside. He's like, I ain't saving no tire right now at all. It goes around the outside of Alex, but in 1 and 2, just not able to make it work. Oh, he does get the run. Can't tell if Alex is. He gets a great run off a 2 there. But it's a chess match. You start to see Kyle Holden pull away a little bit, and you're saving. You go, well, maybe I'm saving a little bit too hard. So let me back it off just a little bit. And then you get out to a real big lead like Shane Davis did early. He might back it down a little bit this time. Don't push it so hard early. It is a constant game of chess, and that's why we love racing. I think a lot of folks who've never seen it, man, I'll tell you what, Randy Mullins ain't playing around, but I think if folks who've never seen oval racing before, they don't know all the intricacies of the way things work at oval racing. They think it's just driving around in circles, but there is so much strategy and chess playing going on. And, man, Randy Mullins, he's not playing chess. He's playing, bowling at this point. He's just picking them up and knocking them down, taking over the lead. He wants to get that lead here early and drives right up to the front. And Alex Coffey looked like he was content to ride back there in about third place, but I think he saw Randy get up there and go around Kyle Holden. And Alex just couldn't help himself. So Kyle will fall back to third. I think we talked about that in his interview, and he is okay with that. He feels good about the car in the long run, so he is going to let those guys by without much of a fight. I think that's a smart move. Now, somebody that's joined this battle, I'm going to tell you what, I'm watching this fella right here, Jeffrey Taylor. We saw him in a 3-wide battle with his mouth wide open going, he was up top 3 wide, got to bounce out of the groove, but look at him right here in 5th position, now looking down to the inside of Sean Kaltenbach. Here he goes, got a nice little run, got a little bit squirrely on exit, trying to push that throttle a little bit more, not able to get the run. Now he goes down in 3 and 4, and you can see just that one little lift. That's that momentum that we were talking about all race long. So we'll see if Jeffrey can make a move here as he looks really fast. Up 16 spots. He started 21st. And you can hear the patience on throttle. He just now getting full throttle, and it can change over the run. You go down into 1 and 2 early in the run, you can kind of push that throttle a little bit earlier, but that's where the tires sort of take you. Kyle Holden gets a little bit loose in 3 and 4. That's going to back Sean Colton back up to Jeffrey Taylor. Jeffrey being patient, actually lifts a little bit there and allows Sean to hang on to that spot. But you can hear not on throttle, now full throttle in the middle of 1 and 2. So a lot of patience out there, and that's what you got to have. But, man, I'll tell you what, Jeffrey Taylor has impressed me so far. I mean, who the hell am I? But still, I'm impressed with the 23 car. The battle for the lead, still 1, 2, 3, and man, look at that. Alex Coffey drives down to the inside, and now Kyle Holden jumps up to the outside. It was very interesting to see those 2 entries, but they are nose to tail. Down to the inside, Alex Coffey for the lead. Now, it will not be that easy right now as we have about 14 laps, about 11 laps on these tires. You can see early on, it was easy to make that pass in 3 and 4, but now they cannot go wide open. They have to lift a little bit. They have to work that throttle. And so Randy Mullins is going to be able to use that to his advantage and hold Alex Coffey up for quite a while. Watch. They go down into 3 and 4. And Randy Mullins able to drive real deep into the corner. Alex just not able to make it stick like he was before. And across the line, Randy Mullins still your leader. As we have an 8-car breakaway here as the leaders continue to battle side by side. That's just going to draw all of these cars in. And if you're in this little top group here, you're in good shape. And if you're saving, you're even in better shape. So if you're Darren Mullins back there, if you're Shane Davis, any of those guys that have been riding in the back here, if you could save a little extra now that the leaders are battling side by side, you could, hey, let me get off the throttle just a little bit more, save a little bit more tire, because I know they're not going to scoot away when they're battling like this. And you can see now it's 2 by 2 up here at the front. So we'll see if anybody decides to take it 3 wide. I know Alex Coffey's not scared to do that. And we'll see if Kyle Holden or Sean Kaltenbach are willing to do it, or maybe Tim Wortman. Let's go aboard with Tim Wortman as he is now on the outside. And you can see just how tight these guys are racing. Alex Coffey now kind of stuck. Seems like the outside line really moving here. And here we go. Kyle Holden down to the inside. He didn't wait long at all. That car is, man, it is fast. It is fast on the long run, that's for sure. I don't know if it's a long run, short run. I don't know if that matters. I think he's just playing damn fast. And he is already back up to second. Alex Coffey starting to fade here. And I think it's a matter of time. Kyle Holden takes the lead. He is setting himself up as the man to beat here tonight. And now Randy Mullins is going to have a mirror full of that 59 machine. You can see Randy doing a little defensive driving. If you've ever had a ticket and you tried to get out of it, you had to go to a defensive driving course. Well, Randy Mullins has been there, because he knows exactly what to do now. In 1 and 2, you can see just how strong the 59 is on the bottom. But Randy, through 3 and 4, he's got a really nice line that's able to carry that speed. And you're going to see him fight back here on the outside with Tim Wortman right behind him. But, man, it just seems like Kyle Holden has everything. And look at the run that Tim Wortman gets off of turn 4. Right up to the back bumper of Kyle Holden, gives him a shove, and they're both going to go by Randy Mullins. And what you're seeing, the whole kind of back and forth, the pendulum, the rubber band, if you will, is the draft just being a big effect, the aero in general, but the draft being a pretty big effect. The way these cars work and the way that the bodies and stuff, the aero just in general, if you go to the inside of somebody, just like Alex Coffey is right here, right here, if he gets to the left rear of that 54, it actually pulls the 54 back. It doesn't propel the 15 forward. It pulls the 54 back and causes sort of a big drag on the 54. That's that side drafting you hear a lot about in NASCAR. And it is a great tool to use to get around folks. But what it does is slow up everybody, or slow you both up, and allows folks to catch up. So you kind of see that slingshot back and forth, guys falling back then shooting forward, and it's all in those big kind of drafty packs, using that arrow like that, and a car can go from the lead to fourth really quickly. So when you battling side by side, that's kind of what's happening. The guy on the outside gets a little bit of a lead. The inside guy goes up to his left rear, yanks him back, and then the guy on the inside gets a run, and the guy on the outside leans on that right rear, and they're just constantly pulling each other backwards. And that's where those big runs come from, and that's what Tim Wortman used to get up here to second. And Kyle Holden, he knocked it out of the park with his idea that Tim Wortman would be somebody he would be worried about. And look right here, Tim back up to where he started in second, coming alive here in the second stage. We'll go on board with Tim as you watch the effort that it takes to make a pass and the decision making. I love oval racing. I will continue. I will die on the hill that oval racing is one of the most strategic and most difficult forms of racing that there is. And because of this stuff right here, Tim Wortman has got a lot of decisions to be made here. He's got about a 0.4 of a second lead over Alex Coffey in third. And we just talked about how if you fight side by side, and Kyle Holden, we'll see what he does here. Is he going to take that run? He doesn't. If he goes down to the inside and Kyle Holden fights him off, they're just going to pull Alex Coffey and Sean and Shane and all those guys right back to him. So Tim Wortman doing the right thing, I think, here is working together almost with Kyle. Know that you can keep up with him. You've got the speed. But allow both of you to pull away a little bit, and then when the time is right, make the move and take over the lead. But it's not guaranteed. He can run behind Kyle a lot of laps, and the tires really start to wear, especially when we get to the, I don't know, about the 85, 88 lap mark. And, the tires just won't let him get the runs anymore. He kind of gets aero blocked. The tightness really takes over and doesn't allow him to keep the momentum up. If you wait too long, you won't be able to make that move. So it is a chess match, and I know I'm definitely probably overstating it a little bit and probably confusing the hell out of the viewers, but I don't know. It's the young kid say, as you know, you know. If you know, you know, or whatever. What am I saying here? You can see a little head shake from Tim Wortman as he gets a little bit tight in 1 and 2. And loses a little bit of time. So he's doing all he can to stay with Kyle Holden here. But Alex Coffey staying in firing range. Here comes Jeffrey Taylor down to the inside to make a move here on Shane Davis, who Shane that definitely looks like has this time been a little bit easier on his tires. Now, he didn't drive up to the front, but he's not falling back as the run gets deep into this second stage. He is maintaining just a little bit better, but Jeffrey Taylor up to fourth. And, we've been talking about Kyle, Tim, and Alex, but, at this point, I think, we got a battle for the lead. Tim Wortman now decides it's time to go. He gets up to the outside. Let's see if he can make this pass work off of turn 2. He's going to have the run. I think he's got a good shot at it right here around the outside. We'll see what he can do in 3 and 4. We've seen that outside be really strong all night long once the tires get up to, man, he's way up the track. You got to watch out for that bump. We saw Denny Hamlin run over that and spin out. But coming off of turn 4, Tim Wortman takes over the lead here on lap 80. Just 10 laps to go in this stage, and I don't know who's going to win this race. Tim does not have a great entry to 1 and 2. Could not get the car to turn down to the bottom. And here comes Kyle Holden back on the inside. Alex Coffey loving this. Jeffrey Taylor also loving this. But these guys want to win stage number 2, get all those stage points, and I think Alex Coffey may have something to say here. See him leaning on that right rear quite a bit, getting a big run down as Tim Wortman not able to hang on to it. Kyle Holden actually takes over the top spot again. Alex Coffey going to get to that rear bumper of Tim Wortman, going to get down to the inside as they go side by side into 1 and 2. And Tim has been one of the best on the middle lane. You call it the high line because all that real estate up at the top of 1 and 2 is just unusable. You can't use it. So it's pretty much the high line. You can see the run that he gets off of turn number 2. But down on the inside, he does clear Coffey. We'll see if he can keep that momentum up. Kind of fell back in Coffey's hands due to that battle with Kyle. So I think Tim Wortman's a little bit better right now, and it shows right there as he's able to kind of power right back around Alex Coffey. Now Alex, is going to have to worry about this 23 machine before too long. Alex actually gets a really nice run there down the back straightaway. Alex Coffey. You can tell he is driving the wheels off that thing. He got super loose off the corner. interesting line in 1 and 2. Let's go on board with Coffee and watch as he tries to find out a way to get around Tim Wortman here. You can almost feel the nervousness of the car as it's not rotating like it did before in 3 and 4. And he's actually bouncing it off the chip. He's not shifting down to 5th at all. Taking sort of a wide arc. Oh, my goodness. Look how loose he is. Look how loose Tim Wortman is. They come off the corner. These guys are hanging it all out, knowing that they got an opportunity here for a stage win. As Kyle Holden going to come up on some lap traffic. That's the number 2 of Darren Mills, who is 3 laps down. So he will not fight too hard, most likely, as he is already multiple laps down. Matt Mackin up in the 0-1. He is going through 3 and 4 right now in that car down on the bottom. He is about 27 seconds behind the leader at the moment. He's in danger of going a lap down. He's going to fight hard not to allow that to happen. But here's the leaders up front. It is still a battle between Kyle Holden and Tim Wortman. You could see the... Oh, man, Alex Coffey. Big contact. Jeffrey Taylor down to the inside. Alex really pushing that 15 machine to the limit. See if the 23 can get in front of him. Actually gives him a little bit of space there. I'm actually impressed. Jeffrey playing the long game, saying, hey, you know what? I'm not going to cut you off right now. We've still got a long way to go. We're not even halfway. And I feel like I'm going to get you in 1 and 2, and that's exactly what happened. Look at Jeffrey Taylor. Boy, that's somebody that if you're trying to pick a driver, that would be a great pick at the moment. I think Kyle, Tim have really shown how good they are. Jeffrey Taylor, Alex Coffey, all would be great picks, especially towards the end of this run. We're starting to see just who has the strength. And Kyle Holden still with the lead. Tim Wortman has definitely made him a little bit more honest. And I think he knew exactly that. Some lap traffic up in front of Kyle. We'll see if that affects him. I don't think either one of those. That's Matt Mackin, and I don't know who else is there. The 7. 7 of Chris Spear. He is 1 lap down already. Matt would like for him to go on, as he is going to go down a lap here. We'll see how hard Matt's going to fight. Matt's probably like, hey, guys, just go ahead and throw the caution now. That'd be great. But Matt actually gets up out of the way. Man, good for him. He's going to get the lucky dog. I don't think that Dean Motley, who is the next driver, is going to have an issue. So a smart move by Matt to just let him go. I don't think he'll catch up to Dean, and that will allow Matt to be the lucky dog recipient. But coming off of turn 4, Kyle Holden wins stage number 1 and also stage number 2. I reckon. I don't know. I need to get clarification on when the caution actually comes out. Somebody in chat can let me know if it's the top 10 that crossed the line at the end of lap 90. I'm not real sure. But Kyle Holden again wins stage number 2. He did this last week. Had some folks flip the stage, and he never really sniffed the lead again after that at Martinsville, which was just a whole event in itself. But I think tonight he is the guy to beat. But I can't stop talking about Jeffrey Taylor. He is one of the guys who I've just seen move up through the field. I mean, he has just been rolling here, and he sits 3rd as they get ready to make their stop for the Stage 2 break. All right, here they come down pit road. 4 tires and fuel will be the the call here, and boy, it's going to be interesting from here on out. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're likely going to see, maybe, green flag pit stops. Seems like green flag racing is on the menu today, boys. And so I am really excited to see how this next run plays out. If we get a green flag stop, that could really change a lot. We can see who's good, who needs, who's struggling on green flag pit stops, who's practiced that. In practice, it's always good to go down pit road at full song and see. As we got a battle for second, I'm not quite sure who won that battle off of pit road. And it looks like Tim Wortman does beat Jeffrey Taylor off of pit road, but it was close. They were neck and neck as they crossed the line. Well, let's see if we can talk to second place. I want to talk to, we've already talked to him a couple times, so I want to talk to Wortman if I can. Warrior Racing. We'll try to remember that. Let's bring him up in the chat. Tim Wortman, this is Eddie in the booth. You got a copy?
What's going on, Eddie?
Well, man, you're looking really fast right now. I mean, you know, and Kyle Holden, who won both stages, he did mention in his stage 1 race interview, I'm worried about Tim a little bit. Now, he didn't exactly say it like that, but that's the way it sounded. So it showed to be the right call because that stage, you look really, really fast. You're able to get around him for a one turn, and then he got back around you. It looks like passing can be difficult. How's that car driving? What do you need to change here this run to maybe get up the lead and take it forever?
My car's really, really good on the long run. Just need to not have a bunch of cautions here so that I can stretch this out and do what I need to do. If we have a bunch of short runs, that could probably hurt me because I won't run as hard. So let's see how we go here. Hopefully it's a clean stage and we get some green flag stops in, and we got some good guys up here in the top 5. Haven't really got to run with Sean. I know I've seen him in officials quite a bit, and but me and Kyle have we run together quite a bit. He's always raced me clean, and I can't wait to finish this out with him and see what happens.
Well, you've been one of the few drivers that can honestly make the outside work. And when we say the outside, the second lane, really, because there's no outside here at Texas. But you've been able to make that work. I mean, is it just the car setup, or is it just how you're driving it? What do you think is allowing you to work that outside like you are? It seems like you're very, very strong, especially later in the run where you think that would be a negative thing. But it seems like that car is driving really good up there.
The car's just good right now. It'll work just about anywhere.
Well, hey, looks like that is definitely the case. We're going to get ready to go green. Good luck, Tim, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you at the end of this thing.
I hope to be talking to you.
All right. Well, there you have it. Tim Wortman Jr. feeling confident as we get ready to go green. And tell you what, he is bad fast here tonight. You know, if we get a caution or two, I'm going to talk to Jeffrey Taylor because I want to hear pick his brain and see what he thinks about this thing, because he is locked in. He has been moving up through the field, making clean passes, and he currently sits in third. Sean Kaltenbach, who was your pole sitter, he is still just hanging around there in fourth. Seems like these top 3 have the long run speed, but you never really know what these guys have in these first 2 stages. You just kind of want to hang around towards the front. Now we're going to see what you really got. What you have, you got to lay it on the table. You got to make the right call to not race too hard here early, knowing that you might have a long green flag run. So, interesting to see how these guys race, who kind of pushes the limit, tries to push up there for that clean air. It's all going to be a chess game from here on out, and I'm here for it. It's going to be awesome to see this thing play out. But still, not even halfway. But if we go green the rest of the way, this race will be over just before you know it. All right, getting ready to go green. Lap 95 coming to lap 96. Let's get these boys rolling. Green flag back out. Stage number 3. We're going all the way to the end. Kyle Holden with a great jump. Jeffrey Taylor right down to the inside and takes over second place. Got some driver in the wall. I think it's Ed Bowles Jr. He is. He's in the wall. Big contact here for the 38. We stay green. But let's see if we can go back and find out what happened to him. 38 here. Gets up out of the groove, and I think that car just... Oh, no, he makes contact with the 21. The 21 again. Chad Sullivan made contact, and when he does, unfortunately, Ed Bowles Jr. is the one that has to, gets the worst end of it. And now big damage for Ed Bowles. We watch it one more time. Don't want to spend too much time, I know, but because we're still green flag racing, but just kind of want to see what happened there. You can see contact with, I can't see exactly who that was, but it wasn't the 21's fault. He made a little bit of contact with, it looks like, the 19 of Nicholas Atwood. And when it does, and apologies to Jeffrey Taylor as he takes over the lead while we were checking that incident out, takes over the top spot. Here comes Sean Colton back going around Kyle Holden, and now here comes Darren Mullins down to the inside in that 64 machine. Haven't really said his name. We saw him outside the top 10 there for a little bit. Now he's up into the third position. Look at him go. He is picking them off quickly. Trying to find the pass for the lead. Just cannot find where Jeffrey made that move. For some reason, my event viewer not showing the most important pass that we missed while we were watching that replay. But that's okay. We'll let it go. It is what it is. He's up front. That's all that matters. But, man, look at Darren Mullins pushing the issue here on the outside. Trying to get around these guys. He wants to lead some laps. Now this has the possibility of being the longest green flag run that we'll see all night long. It is possible to go further than either stage. The first stage was 45. The second stage was about 40 laps. So it's a possibility of going extremely long if we go green the whole way. And, you know, you don't know what these guys have had that they are maybe letting loose now. But you kind of look back here to Kyle Holden and Tim Wortman. They're falling back just a little bit, and you wonder just how much are they saving knowing that this could be a very long run. Tim talked about it. Kyle also discussed it in his interview that, hey, we want to let this – you know, we got good long-run cars, and that's what we're going to play to our strengths. So right now they're just kind of riding back here, and you're wondering just how much they're saving versus the top three. And we'll find out quickly. It won't take long, and we'll know exactly who is running too hard. Right now, Jeffrey Taylor, though, leading some laps in that gold 23 machine. And Darren Mullins just could not let Jeffrey Taylor be the biggest mover as Darren is up 24 spots. Of course, the real biggest mover is still Hunter Carmichael back in ninth, who is made up 26 spots where he started. Man, Sean Kaltenbach gets into the wall off of 2. Well, I tell you what, this is nice. I love Martinsville. You know the way it's going to be. You know exactly you can expect it. You know, you can't run from it. You know it's going to be the way that it was last week. Just a grueling race, a mental game of just trying to make it and get to the end. 33 cautions, I think, was the final total. And I think we spent over 80% of the race under caution. So a brutal race, but tonight, completely different. A lot of green flag racing, a lot of long runs, short runs. We see guys that are going, coming. We see a big old wreck, track blocker on lap 1. And you look, 3 cautions, 7 lead changes. We've seen a lot of guys up at the front. It has been a really, really good race so far. So, you know, a lot of guys were talking, you know, after Martinsville. You always kind of have this thing where we type on Discord. There's paragraphs of things we need to change, and it's always after Martinsville. So that tells me all I need to know. There ain't nothing that needs to change. It's just Martinsville is what it is, and you know what it's going to be when you get there. And I think that's what we're seeing. You know, they were on there talking about, sorry, Eddie, we'll give, you know, it wasn't a great race, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, get out of here. I know y'all can knock it out of the park, and tonight is exactly that. This has been incredible racing. I've enjoyed watching these guys battle it out, long run speed. I mean, just a straight-up chess match that's been going on all race long, and it's going to continue here. As you saw Darren Mullins look down to the inside. He's getting a run here on Sean, and we'll see if he can maybe try to take over that second position. He's feeling pretty fast here after about 15 laps. But they were apologizing. I'm like, my goodness, y'all know, I know that next week is going to be a total different story, and that's what we're seeing. Now, the first lap doesn't count. We're going to forget if that part happened. But, I mean, this is great racing. If you're a race fan, if you're a purist race fan, I know they're not battling side by side the whole time. But if you're a race fan, you got to love the going and the comings of the drivers and the strategy of it all. So crossing over the line, lap 110, so 90 laps to go. I told you it's going to go by quickly. As Darren Mullins had a terrible lap last time by, and he drops back a few tenths to the leaders. These guys are running 30.0s, so they are scooting up here at the front. But we'll really start to see the fall off in the next 10 laps. As they get to lap 28, 29, 30, we're going to see exactly who's got what. Now, I am expecting to see Tim Wortman and Kyle Holden start to push back towards the front. But I will say also that the further you get back in traffic, the car doesn't respond like it did. So we'll see if them being back in traffic makes a big difference, or if their car is just good enough to drive right on back up to the front. As across the line for lap 113, want to thank All About Sheet Metal for the All About Sheet Metal 300 sponsoring this race. Definitely appreciate them for being the sponsor, and they're an overall sponsor of the league, but they are sponsoring this race, so we definitely appreciate them. Also, Jay Crawford Builders, D's Lug Nuts podcast. Triple M, let's see. Triple Malding, I think Triple M Malding. Oh, Triple M Hauling. Sorry, it's a very small picture, so I'm trying to read it. It's Land Development, Warrior Wraps, Green River Tire, Hickory Harbor, Ram Welding and Fabrication, AASM, of course, Raging Cajun Bell Bonds, and RSI button boxes, maybe. I'll get those right. All I have is logos, so I don't really know what they are, but I think it might be RS. As we'll take a look at the cameras, see what everybody's doing right now. Nick King, got Jeff Taylor. He is up there in the lead. Tim Wortman and Chris Spear leaning over in his car. You see a lot of guys doing that, leaning over as he goes down in the corner, talking about his strategy. But all right, lap 22. And you start to hear that Jaws music just a little bit as Tim Wortman, Kyle Holden starting to creep back into the picture. Last lap, Jeffrey Taylor out front, 30.4. Sean Kaltenbach, 30.5. Tim Wortman in fourth, 30.3. And Kyle Holden, 30.3. So they are definitely starting to crank up just a little bit and are starting to run these guys down. Tire saving is a really big deal here, so doesn't surprise me one bit that you could save quite a bit and at the end of these runs. But, I mean, this run is going to last for a while, so we're not just halfway through this run. Going to be a lot left. Talking about Alex Coffey, and he is back here. I think he's got some damage. There's obviously some issues with that 15 car. He was on pit road for about 26 seconds trying to fix it. So he may have fallen back quite a bit under that pit cycle. But he's going to have a lot of work to do here on this stage. And, you know, if you're going to fix damage, you have to do it at the end of stage 2. You ideally do it at stage 1. But stage 2 is your last maybe hurrah of being able to come down and fix damage. So if you're going to try to fix it, now's the time to do it. Up front, Tim Wortman gets a run. He is caught up to Darren Mullins. And again, 2/10 faster that last lap as they caught up to the draft of the top of second and third. They really started to make up some ground here. And he's going to the outside. Going to get a big run here. Going to be boxed in, though. Not really anywhere to go at the moment. We'll see what happens here as, man, the 52 going to aero block the 83. He has not been up there all race long. Goes up there to try to stop that run. I hate being in these positions because you know you're faster, and these guys are going to fight. They're not going to just roll over and let you have it. But if you've been saving, you want to continue that. You've got the advantage, so you definitely don't want to get up here and be battling so hard that you lose that advantage that you had. So tough position to be in here, as you can see how much the battling is kind of holding them back. Looks like Tim going to be able to clear the 64, and actually Kyle Holden going to be able to follow him through. The 52 goes to the top, and Wortman Jr. down to the bottom. And here they both come. I think Jeffrey Taylor has got the speed to run with him. We'll see if he has used his stuff up. Definitely looks like Sean has started to fall back just a little bit here as Tim going to get right to the back bumper. Going to open the door, though, for, oh, man, we're going to be 3 wide. 3 wide for second place as Kyle Holden sees his opportunity and dives down to the inside in 3 and 4. See who comes out ahead, and caution is out. Caution is out, and it looks like I have no idea who the caution was for. I want to say it's the 21. We'll see if we can maybe see. It was. Take a look at the replay here. 21 gets loose. And he just comes to a complete stop on the track. And I think that's what brought out the caution, I would imagine. I didn't see anybody else have any issues. And it looks like I don't see any other reason why the caution would come out. And if I missed it, I'm sorry. But it looks like Chad Sullivan gets loose. He's going to lose a spot. That was for about 15th. And I think maybe Chad just said, you know what? I've had enough of this. And he comes to complete stop. And that brings out the caution here. Well, pit road is wide open as everybody comes down pit road. And they're all going to come down and get 4 tires of fuel. And this is what Tim was talking about in his interview. Did not want to see these cautions. And that was a pretty wild caution if that's exactly what it was for. But it looks like Chad Sullivan just pulled over and stopped. He was on the apron. He was well off the track. So I don't know what the... It looks like it was an admin caution. So looking at the session events here, looks like Sanders, who was in this race, now doing race control. He threw the caution. And he says caution for car stopped on the track, but only saw Chad Sullivan stopped on the track. So interesting call there to throw the caution. But I think I'm missing something. I can't always see everything. I don't have anybody else, just me. So I don't have anybody reporting anything to me. So if I don't see it in the session event or actually see the, it's hard to really explain. But here I've got a lot of timing and scored. I can see the speeds of the drivers. So usually I look for somebody who's kind of going slow. And Chad Sullivan was the only driver that I saw that was running slow. So might get clarification of what that was for. But so far, the only thing I have to go off of is Chad Sullivan coming to a complete stop. Well, everybody came down pit road. Jeffrey Taylor holds on to the lead. Kyle Holden will be in second. Tim Morton in third. Sean Kaltenbach in fourth. Darren Mullins in fifth. Lap down cars going down pit road now to make their stops. Some drivers who were definitely disappointed about how this race has gone. Paul Whitley's still 2 laps down. All these drivers pretty much involved in incidents on that first lap. Darren Mills 3 laps down. Chris Spear is still running in 4 laps down. Jamison Middlemiss 11 laps down, but still out on the track trying to gain those spots. Chris Davis 20 laps down. Aaron Matthews, 76 laps down. Johnny Shade, after an hour and 37 seconds. Johnny Shade back on the track. that is commitment right there. He is going to need some guys to really fall out, as he might be able to pick up a couple spots. But that's commitment. I like it. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to get ready to go green. Let's take a little short commercial break, and we'll be right back. All right, back with the 1 to go. Thank y'all so much for watching. Hoping y'all are enjoying the race. All About Sheet Metal 300 here at Texas. And we are down almost to the final quarter of the race. Just about 73 laps to go when we take the green flag. That is about 1 green flag pit stop. So if we go green the rest of the way, there's 1 more green flag stop to go before we get to the end of this thing. Pace car going to pull off the track. Jeffrey Taylor leads them down to the green flag. And all that work that Kyle Holden and Tim Wortman did to save those tires are going to go out the window here. They're going to have to do it all again. Well, Jeffrey Taylor gets out to a big lead. A nice jump on that restart. And he is going to lead the field here on lap 128. The 18 of Blaine Wilson, someone we haven't talked about. Started in 6th, but has been kind of mired back in traffic. As we've got a battle for second place, Kyle Holden under fire from Sean Kaltenbach. Well, Jeffrey got out to a nice lead, but Sean is really putting the pressure on. We've seen this out of Sean a couple times where he is aggressive on restarts, and I think that's fine. I think even if you're saving tires, being aggressive the first 5 laps is not a bad idea. Try to find some space. If you're right back here, look at all this. That Hunter Carmichael. And like I said, we've talked about him a couple times, but look at this fella. Started 35th, currently running in that 5th position. Matt Cox looks down to the inside, and Hunter actually gave him the bottom, and Matt wasn't able to really take advantage of it, and Hunter drops right down to the bottom. Oh, big contact. I don't know who that was. I think it was Darren Mullins, who was up here in the top 3 not too long ago. Alex Coffey going to go down to the inside of him. He makes contact with the wall. That was a pretty big hit, so I don't know if he's got some damage after that. These cars pretty resilient, so maybe not. But that was a hard hit. We'll keep an eye on that for sure. Here comes Hunter Carmichael around the outside of Tim Mortman. And we know Tim is saving those tires, putting himself in the hornet's nest. Battle for the lead. Sean Kaltenbach goes around. Jeffrey Taylor takes the lead here in the early parts of this last little run to the end. So the 52 goes out front, and he has been there all night long. Sean has been fast in the early parts, in the middle of the runs. Now, late in the runs, he has struggled just a little bit, but 10 laps into this, you're going to run basically about 35 lap stints here. So we'll see what guys decide to do. You could run pretty long, probably close to 50 laps. But we'll see if anybody splits it in half, goes 38. Man, look at Matt Cox go way down to the inside. That's into the inside of the 3 of Hunter Carmichael. Hunter just lets him go. But you got to wonder, if anybody will try to split the stage in half. I think that might be a smart move if you're running, especially right back here, on the outside of the top 5, from 5th on back to 10th. Coming down pit road, there's always the risk of a caution coming out and your night being over pretty much. Having to take the wave around, be on older tires, so there's a definite risk to it. But if it plays out and it goes green the whole way, cutting the stage in 35 lap segments probably is about as optimal as you can get. So we'll see if what the leaders do, what they decide, how they want to run this. But if you run it long, if you run it too long, you don't have enough time to take advantage of those new tires. Even if you, are really, really fast at the beginning. Those guys who pitted earlier are going to have such a big gap that you may just run out of time trying to make it up. So I would imagine somebody's going to split this right in half. And in the next probably 20 laps, we might see somebody come down pit road to make that final stop. Go back here a little bit further. I know we've been kind of watching the top few drivers for a while. The racing up front's been pretty incredible. We'll check back here. We got John Bender racing with Caden Orfrey, who we saw really struggling at the end of a run. That car is pretty fast early on, but seems to really struggle at the end of runs. He was really loose, so driving off the right rear. just trying to hang on, knocked the wall down a couple times. As here's Shane Davis. Shane, we saw him out front early, now back in the 14th position. So it's kind of been put back in some traffic. And oh, Shane gets really loose there off of turn 4, trying to gas it up, make that move on Paul Gallimore. Paul had really moved up all the way from the back, but it's kind of stalled out right around the 10th through 15th area. Not been able to really push any further up than that. But still having a good race nonetheless. Back here, got a battle between Justin Belmont, Darren Mullins, Randy Mullins, and 77 of Wayne Bowen. Somebody did ask in the chat about Kenny Coppola, and Wayne Bowen is that substitute driver, so he is running the 77 tonight. And this league does allow for substitutions, which I think is cool. I think that's a neat thing for a league to allow. If you can't make a race, instead of just losing the points, you have somebody drive for you. And oh my goodness, make contact with Randy Mullins. Broadcaster curse here as they make contact, but it's cool to see that Wayne Bowen can jump in for Kenny, get those points, and he doesn't miss out. I don't know what the limit is on that. I'm sure there has to be, but it's cool to see. I think that's interesting. Some leagues do different things. Some do drop races. Some just don't allow anything at all. If you miss, you just miss. With playoffs and stuff, you usually can make up a race worth, or you can make up a little bit of lost points, but it's cool to see that. Back up front, though, it is Sean Kaltenbach still leading, and Kyle Holden has got around Jeffrey Taylor and has his sights here on the 52. Now, Tim Wortman's back there in 4th, but Kyle being a little bit more aggressive this time, I think, just because you're not going to go the full distance. I think the plan has to be to go around with about 35 laps to go. I can't imagine once somebody decides to go down pit road that everybody won't follow, as here comes Kyle down to the inside. Sean going to fight hard most likely, but still a lot of time left in this race. You definitely don't want to cause a wreck, fighting too hard to burn your stuff up. But it looks like Kyle is coming alive here after just 22 laps. Side by side down into 3 and 4. We'll see if Kyle can make it work, but Sean doing a great job there on the outside. That outside line looks pretty fun as the run goes on. It seems like the bottom line, you really need to be able to use the whole track. We've seen quite a few passes. Like Tim Wortman made a few passes on the outside. Randy Mullins has been probably one of the best ones to do it on the outside, but looks like Kyle just being real patient here, just letting this little battle come to him. But that opened the door for Jeffrey Taylor, who now will dive down to the inside of Sean. And Sean just goes way up the track, and he says, I'm losing too much time, and he lets Jeffrey on through. So this lead battle continues to be interesting. Matt Cox starting to pull himself into the picture, and Alex Coffey has recovered and is starting to find some pace here. And, I mean, the top 10, the top 9 are separated by 2.7 seconds. That's nothing. Go down pit road, that could be, you know, their best laps are right in the upper 29-second bracket. So, you know, Kyle Holden's best lap is a 29.6. His last lap after 25 laps on his tires is a 30.4. So about a second drop-off in 30 laps. So, I mean, at 2.7 seconds from first to ninth, that is 3 laps on new tires. So if somebody comes down early, you know, if Hunter Carmichael comes down early, he can make 3 laps, and he'll be the leader when they all cycle back around. Now, he will have 3-lap older tires, and that'll make a difference. But one mistake coming down pit road, that's where green flag pit stops are so interesting, is you have to be really smart. You have to get down on pit road. You can take it easy if you want. You know, you can drive down, shift the gears real slow, take it easy, getting on pit road like you're going for a Sunday drive, but that will lose you even more time. So you have to walk that thin, fine line of, I'm going to get as much as I can on entry and exit, but I don't want to speed, and I don't want to make a mistake. Matt Cox coming down pit road. He is the first taker, running there in about the 4th, 5th position, and that's a little bit early. I think I was expecting in the next maybe 20 laps or so, or 15. I was not expecting them to come down pit road right now, but here he goes. Going to be the first to come down. He's going to have a long final stint. Going to be about 48 laps. And he's going to go a lap down here. So we'll see if that kind of brings anybody else in. Randy Mullins is going to come down pit road as well. So I think some guys trying to take advantage of those fresh tires and do a little bit of undercut, try to gain some positions. It feels a little bit too early because this run to the end is going to be really long for them. But I like the call. I like to see this type of strategy call. This really makes the racing interesting. They just do not want to see a caution. That'll be pretty detrimental. Kyle Holden still holding on to that top spot. And here we see Tim Wortman starting to creep up into the picture. This time by Wortman, fastest car on the track that has yet to pit. So Wortman starting to run these guys down. As more folks coming down pit road, Darren Mullins comes down pit road, although looks like he has a speeding penalty, as he has been in his stall for about 40 seconds. So that's that issue that I was talking about. You do not want to make those mistakes. As he's exiting pit road now. So the 64 who was up there running towards the front spends 57 seconds on pit road, and that is a night ender for sure. Other drivers coming down pit road, but right now we're going to be watching Matt Cox. Oh, and Jeffrey Taylor comes down pit road, so it did open the floodgates, and Jeffrey Taylor, you see Blaine Wilson right behind him. So Jeffrey Taylor, the first one of the leaders to come down pit road and make his what could be final stop of the race with about 44 laps to go. Now the question is, if you're Kyle, if you're Tim, when do you come down? I think Tim and Kyle feel pretty good on the long run. They'll want to run it as long as they possibly can. But like I said, it can quickly become a problem if you run it too long. I think we'll see them come down pit road in the next 5 laps or so. I just can't imagine them running much longer. No other takers so far down. Oh, Alex Coffey has actually come down pit road, so that's another top 10 driver that has made what could be his final stop. And now we're sort of in a comfortable range where you kind of know, with it being about 40, 45 laps to go, you have a pretty good idea what your car is going to do. Is we've run a 45-lap stage. So at this point, you know what you have. But all of those drivers, Matt Cox still a lap down at the moment, has not been able to unlap himself. And these guys probably feel like they're so fast on the long run that, they can risk. You got to risk it for the biscuit sometimes. And I think, they're lapped up to the 13th position at the moment. if a caution comes out, that really does cut down how many folks you have to race for the end of this for this win. Still waiting on the rest of the top 10 to come down pit road. Looks like somebody's coming down pit road now. Couldn't really see who that is. Looks like Nigel Christensen is bringing the 17 machine down pit road. So he'll give up about 12th position to make his final stop. But still waiting on Kyle Holden or any of the top 5 to come down pit road, as they are 36 laps on this stint. $40 laps to go in this race. Right now, Kyle Holden running a 30.8. Matt Cox running a 29.9. Matt Cox coming off of turn 2 now. And Kyle Holden is coming off of turn 4. So about a straightaway or more that Matt really needs to work on trying to cut that down. But the fall off, while it's significant, right now, I mean, Matt's having to deal with traffic. He's running a 30 flat where Kyle Holden's running a 30.7. So he's not making up a ton of time. But he would love to get up there and get in front of the leaders. But I'm expecting the leaders to come down in the next few laps, I would imagine. See Randy Mullins go down to the inside and get one of his 2 laps back. Jeffrey Taylor, who we saw come down pit road, one of the few leaders that pitted early. He is right behind. Oh, my goodness. You can see all the different tire strategies all over the track, but he is right behind Matt Cox. So Matt Cox has a 0.2 of a second lead, and Jeffrey has about 5 lap fresher tires. This will likely be the battle for the lead once everything cycles around. And this is for 13th and 14th. So that's how many drivers still haven't come down pit road. Hunter Carmichael is on pit road now, getting 4 tires and fuel. He was one of those top 10 drivers. And see somebody else coming down. I think that's Justin Belmont. It is. He comes down to, yeah, he's one of those top 5 drivers coming down pit road now. So it is definitely wide open on pit road. And we'll keep a close eye on this little battle right here, as this is where everything should cycle around to. I think Kyle Holden, Tim Wortman will definitely be behind these fellas, and they will have to dig to get back up. But, you know, they don't have to save as much tire, that's for sure. As Kyle Holden going to give up the lead, come down pit road, and here we go. The leaders going to make their stops now. Tim Wortman stays out on track for another lap. Going to be very interested to see where he comes out of pit road. Still on pit road right now, as here comes Matt Cox around as Kyle Holden was coming out of pit road, and that that interval is quick. They're going into turn 3 right now, and Kyle Holden coming off of turn 2, so he will definitely catch them. He's going to have to dig, but he will definitely catch them, I would imagine, on these fresh tires. He's going to have about 15 lap fresher tires than Matt Cox, and here it is, a battle for what will be the lead once everything cycles around if we stay green, as Jeffrey Taylor now, with those 5 lap fresher tires, goes down to the inside of Matt Cox. But Matt going to fight him, knowing this is the battle for the lead. Down into 3 and 4. And Jeffrey will pull ahead, and he will take over the lead. You can see there's Tim Wortman right in front of him. So Jeffrey would love to get around that 83 machine and unlap himself. That way, if a caution comes out, and that's exactly what he does, goes down to the inside. And so now both of those drivers have unlapped themselves. And so they are the tail end of the lead lap. If a caution comes out, they are no longer in bad shape. So, I mean, mission accomplished there for Jeffrey Taylor, who has put together a fantastic race. He's going to try a little different strategy than the other two leaders. I cannot wait to see how this is all going to play out. Tim Wortman, you know, I'm going to criticize him. And I usually, when I criticize people on the broadcast, I usually regret it because they usually end up being right. But I think Tim Wortman running a little bit too long here. I think now he's down to 30 laps to go. If he runs any longer, he's just not going to have enough time to get back up there. I mean, they are still a lot faster than he is. And his long run is sort of his thing. So, you know, right now he's putting himself in a position where he has to go hard all the way to the end. I just don't know if I like the strategy. I feel like that goes against everything he's been doing all race long. But, hey, right now he's in the lead. And he's on the track, not in the booth. See Sean Kaltenbach come down pit road to make his stop. As Jeffrey Taylor goes by, so he will take over that position. Now, where is Kyle Holden in relation to Jeffrey Holden here? Jeffrey now going into turn number 3. Kyle Holden coming out of turn 2. So he's got a full straightaway to make up. Last time by, Jeffrey Taylor, 29.9. And Kyle Holden, a 30.0. So Jeffrey was actually faster. And we'll see as they cross the line. Kyle probably taking it a little easy, getting around lap cars. Yeah, that time a good bit faster. He is about 3 or 4 tenths faster than Jeffrey right there. So he definitely has the opportunity to run him down. But guys, still out on the track. Tim Wortman Jr. has not come down pit road. Shane Davis and Paul Gallimore, Wayne Bowen, and Dean Motley, along with Jared Clark, have yet to make their final stop. This should be really interesting. I cannot wait to see how this goes. I still feel like Tim Wortman has put himself in a box. I know you'd love to see a caution, and he may still get one. But I really don't know. If he gets a caution, I mean, it'll be a genius. But if not, though, it's just the laps keep clicking away. He's going to come down pit road, and he's going to have, you know, now 25 laps if he pits right now to run down Kyle Holden along with the other drivers. They would have put quite a bit of a time advantage on him. So I just don't know. I don't know if I like this call. As right now, I mean, he's losing a ton of time. Right now, Kyle Holden running a 29.9. Tim Wortman a 31.1. But he stays out. Yet another lap. Top 6 still out on the track, have yet to come down pit road. So the decision has been made to run extremely long, go all the way to the end. 53 laps on this run for the top 6 at the moment. So still waiting on somebody to pull the trigger and come down pit road. Jeffrey Taylor has gotten up to the 6th position. He is running down the tail end of the folks that have yet to pit. He is just a little bit ahead of them. Matt Cox has fallen to what will be 3rd, as Alex Coffey has taken over likely the 2nd position once everything cycles out. Here he comes. Tim Wortman, after 54 laps, coming to 55, comes down pit road. Oh, very sketchy moment there on entry. Don't want to speed here. Doesn't look like he did. But could be scary. So we're going to see. I'm really excited. I would be so nervous trying to pull this strategy off. He's going to have 20 laps. He's going to run the hardest 20 laps he could possibly run, I think, right now. I don't think there'll be any tire saving for Tim, as he's got to go. As Alex Coffey, all those drivers who have already come down pit road has already. He took 2 tires. Tim Wortman takes 2 tires on his final stop. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. That is what an odd. I think maybe he realized that he was in trouble and maybe decided to take 2 tires. Garrett Crawford took 2. Sean Kaltenbach takes 2 tires as well. So, I don't know. I'm interested to see. I feel like there's something I don't know, because that is a wild maneuver there. Now, Kyle Holden has taken over the spot from Matt Cox, so now he is just a few spots back from those drivers who have still not yet to come down pit road. And look at this mess. There's some contact down here. Who is that? The 01. And that's right where Tim Wortman is. The 01 of, I don't know who that is. Matt Mackin comes back on the track, was able to save it. But that was really, really close. And Tim Wortman was right in that cluster of cars. Wortman right now trying to get his lap back, as he is currently a lap down. You can see the hornet's nest he is in, trying to make some moves. Going to go 3 wide here on the leader. That's the leader right there, Shane, in that teal and white car. So he is now back on the lead lap, but Shane Davis currently holds that top spot as Wayne Bowen gives up his position, comes down to make his final stop in that 77 machine. And we wait for everything to cycle out. We're still waiting. Shane Davis, Paul Gallimore have yet to come down. They have been on track for now 59 laps. Kyle Holden has moved into what will be second position. Once everything cycles out, he's able to get around Alex Coffey. He's passing Jared Clark there, but Jared has not come down pit road to make his final stop. So right now the gap to Jeffrey Taylor is 4 seconds back to Kyle Holden. Kyle Holden is about 0.2 of a second faster. Is that going to be enough for him to run him down? Lap traffic is something that these guys are dealing with quite a bit. So we'll see if that becomes an issue. You can see Johnny Shade going to the outside. Jeffrey Taylor lets him go. Jeffrey Taylor letting these guys go is killing his lap time. He was 0.6 of a second slower than Kyle Holden. Kyle Holden has that gap down to 3 seconds now. With just 15 laps to go, Jeffrey Taylor does not have the time available to him to let guys go. He's going to have to really push it, make those guys get him at a good time. Every time he lifts, he is allowing Kyle Holden to continue to eat into it. And I think maybe Jeffrey Taylor's tires are starting to fade here as he's 30 laps into this stint, as he came down 29 laps ago. Kyle Holden's going to have 10-lap fresher tires, and he is running him down quickly. Kyle now 2.5 seconds. And it just seems like at this point, Jeffrey Taylor's tires have fallen off that cliff of how hard you can run, how wide open you can run in 3 and 4. You can see now he lost ground to Shade. Now he is going to have to. He's kind of stuck behind him now. He's going to have to battle Johnny Shade, who just went around him. So I don't know what happened to Jeffrey Taylor, but he lost a good amount of time. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I don't know if he is worried about fuel or what's going on, because he's up and down as far as time goes. There's no way he's worried about fuel. So he just must have had a really bad couple of laps, because now he ran the 30.6. So at one point he ran a 31 flat, and that is a really bad lap time, and allowed Kyle Holden to gain almost a second half, maybe 2 seconds on him in the last 3 or 4 laps. So Jeffrey giving up a ton of time there to Kyle, and Kyle is moving. Right now he is on the hunt. Shane Davis still in the lead. Got Paul Gallimore. They have been on track for 65 laps. There's a lot going on. I know it's confusing, but we'll see it through. On board, Paul Gallimore, who's sitting in second currently. And I don't think these guys are trying to save fuel to the end. I mean, they've been on the track for 66 laps. I doubt they can make it. And here they come right now. Shane Davis, Paul Gallimore comes down pit road to make their final stop with 10 laps to go. That will give the lead to Jeffrey Taylor, but Kyle Holden is on the march. He is less than a second now behind Jeffrey Taylor. Now the battle, or the gap is down to 0.7 of a second. Kyle Holden is just going to be too fast at the moment. I don't know what happened to Jeffrey Taylor. We'll have to ask him if it holds here, and we talked to him in post-race interviews. But, yeah, I mean, he lost so much time dealing with those lap traffic, and now he's trying to push it. I mean, he's being very aggressive now, but it's a little bit too late. He doesn't have the tires, I don't think, to hold Kyle Holden back. I mean, he's really going to have to push here and push those tires to the limit. As you see Sean Davis coming out of pit road now. I mean, it is going to be a tall task to keep that 59 machine behind that 23. But even with those 10-lap fresher tires, Jeffrey can make it tough for Kyle Holden. Kyle has been probably the class of the field. And, oh, man, look at the gap he was able to make up right there. Kyle is there. Going to look down to the inside. We'll see if we see a block from Jeffrey. Yeah, a little bit of a defense. Going to go down, use this lap car. Oh, he pushes up, drives a little bit too hard in. Jeffrey going to want to try to use this lap car as a pick. Try to stop Kyle Holden, but if I'm in a position, I want to be in Kyle's position. You can see Jeffrey defending that bottom. Doesn't want to give that up, and unfortunately, he's going to lose from the top side, it looks like. To the outside goes Kyle Holden for the lead. 79 right behind him. He's on those fresh tires, going to be right behind. He wants to get back on lead lap, so he's got something to race for as these leaders battle for the race win. With just 6 laps to go as they cross the line, Kyle Holden's got a nose out front. And through 1 and 2, here comes the 79 on the outside. Nervous moment for Kyle Holden, but he does take over the lead, and Kyle Holden takes over the top spot. And I think that's all she wrote. Sean Kaltenbach is about 1.1 seconds back. He does have about 5 laps fresher tires, so maybe he's got something for Kyle Holden. Now, Tim Wortman, who ran really long there and took 2 tires, he is he's back in 6th. He is 5.5 seconds back on the lead. He's not going to be able to make that up. But Sean took the 2 tires, so I don't know if he's got the rubber that he needs to make it work. Coming across the line, Kyle Holden, 4 laps to go. Jeffrey Taylor now going to be battling for that third position. If we stay green, I mean, he's definitely going to finish second or third. So I think it's a great night for Jeffrey Taylor. I'm so curious about what happened those few laps that he was running about 4 or 5 tenths off his pace. I don't know if lap traffic just kind of caught him in a bad spot or what exactly happened, but be interested to hear. But here we go, battle for second. Sean Kaltenbach on those 2 tires. It seems like 2 tires works pretty well. He's going to get a run here. Down to the inside, not much that you can do even with 2 tires. Those right sides are almost 20 laps older. So Sean Kaltenbach will take over second spot. Well, Kyle Holden comes through 3 and 4. Barney changes the flag. He picks up the white flag, and white flag is out for Kyle Holden. 1 more to go. We will see it to the finish. No caution will come out now. All he's got to do is hit his marks. And he's going to win here at Texas. Coming out of turn 2. 1.6 seconds back to Sean. Not close enough, it doesn't look like. Going through 3 and 4. Stage 1. Stage 2, and he will win the race, the final stage here at Texas. What an interesting race, and that final run, the pit strategy, definitely made an interesting race out of it. Some interesting calls, and I think Kyle made the right one. I think Jeffrey made a great call. I think maybe lap traffic doesn't hold him up a little bit. We might be talking about him winning the race, but just great calls, great position all night long for Kyle Holden, and he's going to burn it down here at the start-finish line. Tim Wortman comes home in 5th after he runs long there, and still a really good finishing position for him, but I know he's probably disappointed. Felt like he deserved to maybe have a top 3 for sure. All right, let's take a commercial break. We'll come back. We'll talk about results, and then we'll get interviews, talk to these guys, and see what they thought about it. We'll be right back. Kyle Holden takes home the victory here in this race. If you're just joining us, just a dominating performance for him. But let's talk about your results. Kyle Holden, Sean Kaltenbach, Jeffrey Taylor, your top 3. Justin Belmont with a great drive up towards the front. Comes home in 4th position. Tim Wortman comes home in 5th. Alex Coffey in 6th. Matt Cox in 7th. Hunter Carmichael, the biggest mover of the race, he comes home in 8th. With Andrew Niedert in 9th. Blaine Wilson rounds out your top 10. 11th is going to be Wayne Bowen. Nick King in 12th. Paul Gallimore in 13th. Caden Norfree in 14th. Garrett Crawford in 15th. Shane Davis in 16th. Randy Mullins in 17th. Nicholas Atwood in 18th. Dean Motley 19th. And 20th, Garrett Clark. 21st is Nigel Christensen, Matt Mackin in 22nd, Darren Mullins in 23rd, Jordan Schmeets in 24th, 25th, Paul Whitley, 26th, Darren Mills, Chris Spear in 27th, Jameson Middlemiss in 28th, 29th, Barry Sanders, and 30th, Chris Davis. 31st, John Bender. 32nd, Chad Sullivan. 33rd, Johnny Shade. 34th, Ed Bowles Jr. 35th, Aaron Matthews. Matt Medler in 36th. 37th, Derek Pemberton. Shane Parrish in 38th. Stephen Gibson, 39th. And Brandon Fetterplace in 40th.
Left there. Yeah, I had a lead race here last week, and I knew if I pitted a little bit later, the newer, fresher tires would just allow me to zoom right by the guys. So I wanted to go with a little bit of that strategy. I thought they pit a little too early at lap 50, 50 to go there. So I figured stay out, and hopefully it works out for us. And I think, we'll have the fastest car on the racetrack and just try to zoom by as many people as we can. And luckily, they just didn't have the tires to keep it underneath them. We were able to get by everyone, come home P1.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely seemed like one of the fastest. I mean, there was about 3 cars tonight that I think were race-winning cars, and you were definitely at the top of that list. I mean, win both stages and you win the race. That's a pretty solid case for being the best car on the track. But man, get that win. That feels really, really good. Especially in a race. It's got 40 drivers in it. This series is so competitive. Talk a little bit about what it means to get a win in a series like this that has 40 drivers that are very good.
Oh, it's tough. Week in, week out. You gotta practice, put the time in to make sure that you had the speed in order to get those wins. Without doing that, you're not really gonna stand much of a chance, especially when you got guys who build setups here and run thousands of laps each week and stuff. So you got to put the time in, to do it. And luckily, we had some time this week to put a little bit more effort into it, and came home with a win. We did run last year's set, which was pretty banger for us last year as well. So I think that's kind of what kind of gave us a little bit of advantage there. We just had an idea of what we wanted to do to run the track, whereas the other guys had to figure the new set out. So other than that, overall good race. Sorry for what happened on P1 or lap 1. It was kind of a calamity there, but hopefully most of the guys made it through it.
Well, I mean, impressive to get to that that second win mark. I mean, you already had a win at Coda. To get to that second win mark kind of puts you in another echelon. So, playoffs are still a long way away. Getting one win is great, but getting that second win just seems to be, it takes, with that as many, drivers here that are really good. One win almost feels like, last a couple seasons of the next gen car in real life, where one win may not be enough to get you in if it goes like it might. So getting those 2 wins really kind of gives you that confidence. All right, we're playoff racing no matter what, and kind of takes that pressure off. So man, great race tonight. I mean, you covered them, you had them locked down from the very beginning, and come away with the win. So congratulations on that. And who you got to thank here tonight?
Just huge thanks to you in the booth. Love what you're doing here. The quality of the broadcast looks amazing. Huge thanks to Sim Lap Market for letting me put them on their car. I know Cameron loves seeing us run his cars out there. And huge thanks to Team Watson. He always puts the time in these setups. Just happened to be this time I liked running the old set. And huge thanks to my parents. I know I'm pretty sure they're watching. Huge thanks to James and everyone part of the league. And you have a great night.
All right. Well, there you have it. Your winner here tonight, Kyle Holden, takes the victory after leading 83 laps en route to the race win. Well, let's bring in second place, and that is Sean Kaltenbach. Sean, you were up front all race long, and there at the end, you took two tires. Talk to me about that call to take two tires there on that
Uh,
last stop.
well, racing earlier this week, we kind of noticed. I mean, I noticed a few of the times. I mean, right around 20 laps to go, two tires was actually a little bit quicker than four. So I kind of was looking at how much the cars were falling off, and I was like, well, if we can only need 10 or 8 laps worth of fuel, we might be able to pull two tires off and see. I wasn't completely certain on how much, if it was going to get me a top three or not, but I just knew the car was going to be quicker on two, and it was just saving that much time not putting on four. I don't know. Like I said, I was thinking the four tires weren't going to be able to be enough to make up the time difference.
Well, and it seemed to be the right call because you were running right there, Jeffrey Taylor, a little bit ahead of you when it all started, and you were able to run him down, get around him, and take that second spot. Kyle was kind of the, he was the guy to beat here tonight. Is there anything differently you could have done that you might have had something for that 59 machine tonight?
I don't know. I kind of jumped on both sides of the fence, kept trying to adjust on the car, and I made it worse at one point when we fell back there, and I kind of went back on the adjustments and tried to snug it back up because I took a pile of cross out of it to free it up. But I don't know if I could have had anything for Kyle without completely redoing or trying a different setup version than the one I drove. But all in all, it was a good run.
Yeah, well, fun to race, fun to watch you guys in the top five pretty much battle all race on. You got the pole, you were up there pretty much the whole time. And to win the pole, come away with second, man, just an impressive run. So congratulations on that. And who you got to thank tonight?
Well, I didn't say it. I've TWR, all the friend buddies over there, kind of working on race setups. Friends over at Beast Mode, get to hang out with those guys, share ideas and stuff. But it's fun group to hang around with between TWR or TWRS and Beast Mode. It's kind of their idea to kind of invite me to, or coax me to come over to join you guys over in this league. It's a fun league, enjoying it so far. I know it was my first official race actually being part of. I think I subbed for somebody earlier this year. But it's a fun league.
Well, there you have it. Second place, Sean Kaldenbach, who had a great run in the top five, and he will come home in second. Good first race of the season, that's for sure. Well, let's talk to probably one of my favorite guys to talk about here tonight, and that's Jeff Taylor, and he's been patiently waiting in the interview room. Well, Jeffrey, first off, how you doing tonight? How you feel about that third place finish?
I don't feel as good as I should because I flipped the strategy there and I should have went the other direction. But I was telling them I don't think I. You had two fields of thought there. He pitted later and had faster car later in the run. I had a huge gap. My logic is a little bit old school on that. I pit early. I put the distance out there, and I put the pressure on him to come through the field and catch me when I can just ride. And that's what I did. So it was the wrong choice, but um, for example, like Alex Coffey in the 15 was on the same strategy as Alex, and he was just as fast as Kyle, and he didn't make it through the field. So if Kyle would have got held up, I would have been sitting pretty. So
Well,
it's
go ahead, sorry.
oh no, you go ahead. I'm good.
Well, speaking of being held up, there was a couple times where, and you'll hear it on the broadcast, and just me trying to figure out what's going on. So I wanted to ask you, with about 10, maybe 15 laps to go, there was a couple laps. I mean, you dropped off about half a second. Was lap traffic giving you trouble, or were you just having a hard time adjusting to the changing of the car? What was going on there? You lost a good amount of time there for a couple laps. So I'd be curious what happened there.
Lap traffic played a little bit into it, but the I think the car just started fading. That was the first time we'd had a green flag stop, and usually when you come back out, it's just a little bit different. And there towards the end, I did everything I could do to try to keep Kyle behind me, hoping for maybe even a caution if I kept the gap and could still be the first car out. So I used the tires up, and they were done with 10 to go. There just wasn't. Like I said, I was trying to hold the lead as long as I could, and then the car just fell off. So it's just part of the deal. If I would have held pace, I wouldn't have. If I hadn't have tried to hold Kyle back there as much as I could, they wouldn't have fell off as much in the last 10 laps. So
Yeah.
it's just a strategy call.
Well, I mean, regardless of any of that, finishing in third after starting in 21st was impressive. And we were watching you kind of going back, changing, putting it in reverse, going back to the beginning of the race. You started about mid-pack and then just drove up through the field, and very few people were able to do that. So tell me, what did it take to get up through the field like that? It seemed like you had a pretty fast piece in that 23 machine.
I mean, it was super fast, and it's hard work from the guys that helped me, man. Like I say, I don't. I learned from them, and like I say, this was I was really struggling last week in the practice races leading up to it. And I knew that I had a problem, so I started over Sunday night, and when I come back, I had to come back with something different. And I ain't saying that it was perfect, but I had to do something. I've been running good all year. I've had, go back to Vegas and getting caught up in a wreck, running top five. The race after that, caught up in a wreck. Atlanta had a power outage. I'm not really great on road courses, so Coda was just a survive. And then last week, my pedals went out. So my pedals come disconnected, what was it? 100 laps into it wasn't even 100 laps into the race. So I was out. Everything tonight was to be able to get a good finish to get points back. So I've been trying to crawl my way back up in points and just make finishes. It's not about winning necessarily; it's about being right there every lap. And that was what I taking a little bit of an old school approach to it. Just be consistent. If the wins, if I put myself in the top five every race, the wins will come. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, and I think that's a great, a lot of times racing is all mental. You've got the ability, you've got the setups, but you're in a league like this, everybody's good, everybody's competitive. So it's not like, you're going to be just blowing people's doors off every week. But, a lot of times it's mental. It's just, hey, I don't need to win. I don't need to make this crazy move. We saw Denny Hamlin make that move on Sunday. They didn't have to make. And ends up at the back of the pack with a torn up race car. And so I think that's a great point. I think sometimes you just have to put that mindset of, hey, I'm going to finish top five. And it seems like whenever you do that, wins come almost immediately. It's so crazy. So tonight you had an opportunity for a win and came up a little bit short, but man, it's still a great drive. You got a lot of talking on the broadcast. I became a fan while I was watching you come up through that top 10. Really fun to watch. So congratulations on a podium finish. That's really good. Really fun to watch you. Yeah, really. I mean, definitely a visible paint scheme. Can't miss you one bit. So, but man, as always, who you got to thank? Who helps you get around the track?
Man, the guys at BMP all the time, man, always helping me. That's where it all comes from, every bit of it. No matter where the setup comes from, no matter where you get it, it doesn't happen without those guys. Shane, Kenny, Chris, I don't want to name them in order, Paul. Those are the guys that, and Matt Cox now has become a huge help. Shaw and Kaltenbach which finished second in our qualifying setups, have been improving every week and getting faster and faster. So every one of those guys, like I said, whatever you run, it's not as much as the support you get around it, man. And those 10 guys that are in that every week, and because they hear me complain and talk, I'm like, God, I got to do something. Like, those are the guys you talk to. So you got these guys out here that are running elite guys and pros and stuff. You can't go to them. You go to the guys that you know and trust, and they understand you. So,
absolutely. Well, there you have it. Third place, Jeffrey Taylor
man
takes the final podium spot, and man, that was a great drive out of him here tonight. So, well, that's going to do it. We round out our coverage here in this race here tonight, and just a lot of fun. Definitely a complete 180 to what we saw at Richmond and Martinsville, and just high quality racing, great strategy, and just great drivers. So, want to thank All About Sheet Metal for their sponsorship of this race here tonight. I'm Eddie Smith. You're watching VSRN. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribe. Go over to VSpeed, our main channel. And well, it's not main channel, but the parent channel on D-Speed. Give them a subscription as well. We do broadcasting almost 7 nights a week. Lots of different folks that are putting in really great work. So I want to thank them, Bradley Cooper, Adam Baker, all the stuff that you see on the screen. Adam Baker had his hand in. He is a great graphic designer. He designed some of the overlay stuff. I think all of the overlay stuff. So a lot of the graphics stuff you see are work of his. So want to thank them as well. So, all right, guys, well, that's going to do it for me. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. We'll keep trying to get better at it, learning everybody's name, getting all the folks figured out. And it's been fun meeting everybody and everybody in chat for being active as well. So we'll see y'all next week as we go to Talladega. What a way to keep the intensity rolling. And I'm going to tell you, after that, it's all wild and crazy races, and I cannot wait. I love these tracks coming up. You got Dega, you got Dover, you got Kansas, Darlington, and Wilkesboro, Charlotte. I mean, that is a 5-6 race run that can't really be beat. So then we move into Worldwide Tech, Sonoma, Iowa, New Hampshire, National Superspeed, which may be the worst 5. It's going to be tough. There's going to be some fun tracks coming up. There's going to be some that are really going to test these drivers, then building setups. And you got the Chicago Street Course, which I think will be a wild and crazy one as well. So stick around, man. Moonshiners is got some momentum now. OB Builders Cup Series is one of the best, and I'll tell you what, I'm excited to see how it plays out. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you next time.